um, graph. Ash, right, so we talked about that already, right? A reference to mesh service. Right, I think this would be good. So now we support the gateway API HTTP route. It would be good to be able to support a backend ref that has client mesh service in the name and probably a namespace as well.
Yeah, especially that right now we can support like gateway API. We can configure gateway API on multi-zone configuration, right? But the issue is that the only way to target like a backend ref is to use the Kubernetes native service, which is cluster scope, right? So you cannot have gateway configured to access.
It's not.
It's
namespace code.
Yeah, sorry.
Kubernetes service?
No, what I meant is it's not scope, it's bound to the cluster where it's being applied, Kubernetes cluster.
Yeah, and that's fine because mesh service now has an entity of remote services.
Yes, it's fine. What I wanted just to clarify is that this is the restriction currently. So you cannot have gateway which is allowing you to target services in a different clusters, Kubernetes clusters.
Right, but why would you want that?
No, you don't want to do that. But you want to have a way to, for example, specify like this backend ref for our service in a different zone, right?
But the fact that is in a different zone is just in the mesh service object.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to clarify, that you cannot do it now. If you want to do it, we need to implement it, and we want to implement it by allowing the custom backend ref with the kind mesh service and group Kuma.io.
But this is what this issue is about, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I want yes. So my clarification didn't help, it seems. But I wanted just you to know that you can use gateway API resources to create a gateway in multi-zone environments, but you cannot target like a services which will be in a different zone currently. There's no way.
Right.
But we want to have a way, and we want to have a way by introducing the mesh service backend ref for the gateway API resources.
Right. But this mesh gateway backend ref is not limited to just
Indeed.
Kuma.
This cluster.
Right. I think we talked about this already, right? It does make sense to have it into our 8. So we have this display name now, right? But unfortunately, on policy matching, stuff like that, we return a meta that doesn't include the labels. So we should probably have the labels so that we can, in the GUI, show things and make it easier for everyone to figure that these are the same things, right? And we don't show the name that is closer to an ID in practice, right?
From the Open API point of view, is it just an object with fields instead of label name? Or
I think it's I think it's labels and then it's a map string, right?
No, but if you want to document like the exact labels, can you do that? Like display name or zone origin or something like that?
Yeah, but would you want to actually?
I mean, it has some value, right? If we have standardized labels that you are using in API, in GUI especially. Yeah, I don't know how this should. Maybe it should be just an object with fields. the values.
Could the schema of label be strict? Each label key defined, or should it just be is that understandable?
I think you don't do object string, right? You just do object and you don't specify more properties. So you just keep properties empty.
I mean, in that case, we might make it a list, maybe array, and have like an array of object key value, right?
But then it's wrong schema already. No?
What do you mean?
I mean, if you
You'd have
construct the
Right.
object, you don't have array.
right? Something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it won't work, right? Because we have to change the backend to have different formats of the labels.
I mean, this is a different object altogether. There's a mapping function that takes from one to the other.
Ah, you mean that on universal format we can convert to our internal map, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is an API type, right? So you can return whatever you want, right? From the actual red stuff.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you apply resource, it also should, you can apply resource with labels, right?
Yeah, but
Through the API.
I mean, I think this meta is the meta, like it's not the meta for everything, but I could be wrong.
I mean, it's possible we're not sharing it with another. Yeah, maybe it's true. Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, like information is there for the future. This, I think it would be nice to have it. So at the moment we can only do OTLP for gRPC protocols, and it's a little unfortunate, right? Because some places only implement HTTP. So it would be good to support HTTP. I think this HTTP would be good. TLS would be good. HTTP header with oath. I think one thing that would be also be useful is using node IP in some ways. I don't know how you do that, but that's a common way to deploy hotel collectors with daemon sets, right? All right. This is just a very sad, like, lose validation on names. That means you can put a dot in it. I think we need to fix that. There's a big how do we do that?
But
from
when
a
it
backwards
fails on the, I mean, you created the mesh, but why data plane fails?
I created a mesh, but why do data plane fails?
Yeah, I think that's what the issue says, right, Christoph? That you can create mesh with dot, but
Yeah.
then DP
Uh,
won't start. So my question, why it can't start? Because
yeah, let me dig up the logs from this. Give me a sec.
I mean, there's a very obvious thing. It's like you're gonna create on Universal a mesh with a dot, and then this is gonna be synced by KDS to Kubernetes. That's gonna tell you you can't add dots in resource names in Kubernetes.
you can, no?
Pretty sure you can't.
No, dots cannot go in the name.
Yeah, because they are
But we
Yes,
have
fragments.
the ingress when you sync this called, previously was called zone name dot something.
damn it, I have Istio running here. uh,
In the original Slack thread, it just said that the data plane is not found.
in any case, the validation is too weak. Like we shouldn't be able to do that, just because also it kind of screws up the fact that we use these things in our names. I mean, I don't know what would people think we should do on the backwards compatibility here.
Is there an issue actually? Like if someone actually has a one with a dot, no, that data plane should be able to connect. So it's not useful at all. So I don't think there's an backwards compatibility issue in the first place, right?
No, but if you start adding validation on it, that means you're not going to be able to modify things that already have.
Small point. I just checked. You can create resource on Kubernetes with a dot in the name.
So only namespace are limited and you can't have dots?
I don't know. I just created CRD with a dot in the name, and it works. So
I mean, I don't mind. I think at least mesh should not have dots because that creates things weird things with.
yeah, but I think we should figure what exactly where later in the down the road it failed. Maybe yes, maybe we can only limit the mesh to not have dots.
Opinions, people?
I'm still not sure I get the problem with backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
Um,
if we disallow dot, then
If I
Oh.
have something with a dot, right, already exists,
Yeah.
now with disallow dots, I upgrade. I struggle to update the thing with the dot because now the validation kicks in and it's not valid.
Okay. And why do we want to ban the dot?
yeah, that's my point. Maybe we should just allow this and see why it fails.
So it fails in the DPP name. Um, I guess because we use the mesh name in DNS generated names.
Do we not know?
We don't.
I'm not sure what does it mean the DPs will fail to start? Do we like what's the actual?
The actual error is that the resource is not found. But
Mhm.
this was reported on our internal Slack, so we
Interesting.
wasn't able to share the
All
exact.
right, we can probably fix this, right? We probably do a bad job at parsing. No? Because I remember that in the node ID in the XDS we concatenate name and mesh. So we probably on parsing expect that there are only two fragments when you split by the dot. So that's probably the reason, right?
Right. I mean, the counter
We could
argument
just
is considering that it's easy to write this sort of bugs by doing the wrong assumptions. Are we gaining anything from having dots in the name?
well, no, not that much. The question is how to introduce this validation with backwards compatibility. It's not an easy change, right?
I mean, if it's that broken that you can't use DPs if you have a mesh with a name, like, do we even have to deal about backwards compatibility? Because it seems like it's dead on
Right, but
arrival.
but that's dot in a mesh, right? But you probably can have dot in other resources, and it's
Okay.
fine.
Sorry, Christoph, I misunderstood you then when you were talking, when you were like asking about. What do people think? Should we keep allowing it and just disallow it in mesh?
Like, if it's not problematic in other resources, then just leave it alone. Like, and for the mesh, as I think we've already established, no one's probably has this because the DPPs wouldn't be running.
Okay.
At least that's my take.
Let's disallow on mesh and then check for impact on other resources, right?
But this seems a bit hacky, like disallowing on the mesh just because it failed somewhere later. I
Yeah.
agree with Jacob. I think we just parse somewhere very poorly using dot.
Yeah, but the thing is, by like the fact that we use like service names, like, and it's a question for mesh service, like, should we allow dot in mesh service, right? And I think where it's disallowed, it's in like kubectl create namespace foo.bar.
Yeah, because it's part
Right.
of the DNS name in the future, right?
Yeah, so for mesh and mesh service, should we do that as well, right? Because
Is mesh part of the DNS name in the future, or
it's not, but it's likely, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if this is the reasoning, then yes, yeah, it makes sense.
But hold on, but why? Why would this be a problem? We wouldn't parse the DNS name.
No, I guess if you concatenate the build DNS name and it has some dots that you don't expect, maybe all of a sudden it's subdomain, and yeah, I don't know. It might be
You're
tricky.
sort of doing two things. Like if I have a mesh service foo.bar and
Oh yeah.
a mesh baz, right?
Ah,
And I have
this
foo
argument.
bar dot
Or
baz, right?
okay, yes.
And now it's the same, right?
Wow, of course.
And you could save you all this trouble by just disallowing dots, right? So why overthink it when you could just make it work?
Okay. To your point, let's say we disallow the dots and we have mesh service and zone called AB and BA. You still have this conflict, no?
Mesh set, but no, because you put a dot between them.
Where? So A dot B and B dot A.
A dot B, right? And you have B dot A, right?
No, okay. So mesh service is called okay, because you have an order of
Right. You know that the
sure.
first bit,
Okay.
you know
Yeah,
that the first
I-
bit of your domain is your mesh service. Your second bit is your
Yeah. Mm.
zone, right? So I don't know, like we can try with service, but I'm pretty sure service has the same thing. Create service needs a bunch of other things. All right. Cluster IP.
Maybe you can try to rename existing service in your cluster.
This I still haven't learned this create service very much. Right, same thing. And I think anything that ends up in a domain that can't have a dot in Kubernetes. So
Yeah.
namely service and namespace.
Yeah, then we should return validation error that it's part of the DNS potentially. That's why we're not allowing dot.
Right.
It's
So
like different path when you
we
validate.
disallow in mesh service and zone then. Like I'm fine with that. Like I think it makes sense.
Yeah. So the only backwards compatibility concern is zone. It seems like. Because mesh and mesh service.
Yeah, and I think we already have an issue for zone. An old one. No, I thought there was one. Okay. Oh, so we're about time. We can do a last one. Mesh circuit breaker should be configured with egress. Should we just ignore this as in, egress is a bit nichey? Use RDS for all routes. This is kind of cool. Like, how far away would we be to actually add RDS for routes?
Not that far, I would say.
Yeah.
The only problem to consider is resource warming. But we may need to do something for a resource warming.
Have we got an argument already about this?
Yeah, I think Ilya linked to that, the issues we've had in the past. There, why we dropped it in the first place. I think there's something in there about
Right.
warming.
So what's the story of this resource warming, which need to?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
it's like clusters and endpoints, right? You need to push endpoints for cluster to get
Right.
out of the warming state. And there was something similar with routes. I'm not sure if you need to push something on top of routes or like
Right.
there was some kind of dependency, and we dropped this because we didn't have a good enough use.
There is dependency with listeners.
Right.
Right.
But now if Go control plane has ordering in place.
Yeah, but it's not really ordering, I think, right? And
No, it's
Jacob,
ordering like
yeah, but it's optimistic ordering. Like as in it sends the thing in order, but on the Envoy side, Envoy doesn't load them in order. I think so.
I'm not sure.
But if you're using ADS, not XDS, then this is one connection, right? And you send stuff ordered. I mean, it's not usually about the first connection. It's usually about the upgrade. When you receive new routes, you don't put them, for example, before listener.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, we'd have to look into that anyway, to see. But we don't have this problem for Gateway though, because Gateway already uses RDS.
Well, maybe we do.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
we out of time.
Yeah, we're at time. Thanks everyone. Ciao, ciao.
Thanks.
Yeah.